Welcome to Bite-Sized Folklore, where we revive the stories that linger just beneath the surface of our landscapes, in the wind, the stone, and the dark. In this episode, we travel to the Highlands and the Western Isles of Scotland, where wild moors stretch out beneath wide skies, and the veil between worlds grows thin. This is the tale of a creature feared not for its bite, but for its bark. The Cù-sìth. Now, the Cù-sìth is a dog, but it's no ordinary dog. It's a fairy hound, born of the other world, a beast of ancient power. According to the Highland lore, it roams moors and sea cliffs after dark, slipping silently between worlds. Described as the size of a small cow, with shaggy green fur like seaweed and eyes like dim embers, the Cù-sìth moves in utter silence. Not a twig snaps, not a breath disturbs the air. But it's the bark of the Cù-sìth that makes it feared above all. The hound is said to bark only 3 times. The first is a warning. The second is a threat. And if you hear the third, something terrible follows. In one well-known version of the tale, a man is walking home across a lonely moor at dusk. The light has faded, but he's nearly home. Then, the first bark. Low, distant, inhuman. He pauses, frowns, and he keeps walking. A few minutes later, the second bark rolls over the moor. It vibrates in his chest. The air has gone still. No wind. No birds. Even the sea seems to wait. He looks towards a low ridge and sees it. The Cù-sìth. A massive shadow, its green fur rippling in the... well, there's no wind. Eyes staring straight into him, watching. Not hunting, waiting. The man runs. He runs harder than he's ever run before. Breath tearing his throat. The world narrowing to path and panic. And behind him, the third bark. What happens if you hear the bark of the Cù-sìth? That depends on the version of the tale you go by. But none of them are kind. Some people say that if you hear the third bark, the Cù-sìth will take your soul, to serve forever in the fairy realm. You vanish without a trace, as if swallowed by the night itself. Others say the bark is so powerful, so full of ancient terror, that you'll die on the spot. Not by tooth or claw, but by pure fear. A heart stopped by the sound of something older than death. And in darker versions still, it doesn't kill you. It follows you. The third bark of the Cù-sìth marks you. A claim. And no matter how far you run, no matter how many years pass, the Cù-sìth will one day return to finish what it started. And that's why they say, you must reach shelter before the third bark. In this story, the man flings himself through his door just as the bark fades into the earth. He survives. But come morning, outside his home he finds the marks. Giant paw prints in the soil. Deep, heavy, wider than a man's hand. Circling his path and vanishing into nothing. He never walked on that moor again. The Cù-sìth gives fair warning. 3 chances. 1 bark to turn back, a second to make you run, and the third to claim what it's come for. So remember, if you're ever alone in the Highlands and the world grows unnaturally still, and you hear a bark, once, twice, don't wait for the third. The Cù-sìth isn't just a ghost story whispered around peat fires. For centuries, Highlanders believed in its presence, not as a myth, but as part of the land. On the Isles, crofters would bring their livestock in early or mark the door with iron or rowan wood, just in case the hound passed by. Even Scottish soldiers were said to carry charms to protect themselves against fairy beasts like the Cù-sìth. A green dog roaming the hills at night? To many, that was as real as rain. And strangely, tales of the 3-bark warning aren't entirely unique to Scotland. In Irish folklore, the Cù-sìth is a near cousin, a spectral hound tied to the fairy mounds. And across Europe there are echoes too, spectral dogs that roam crossroads and ancient burial sites. For example, the Black Shuck of East Anglia. It's as if something, a memory, a fear, a presence, follows us across the hills of time. Because the Cù-sìth isn't just about being hunted, it's about being watched, warned, and wondering if you listened good enough. Thank you for listening to Bite-Sized Folklore. If this tale followed you home tonight, maybe keep a light in the window and a charm by the door. Join us again soon for another Shadow from the Old World. Until then, be well, be wary, and don't stray too far from the path.